being cut off. Video.
Could you ask your question?
Okay. You say that you are very inclined of trying to implement new policy, but I think you're a weak person because you don't have...
Excuse me, could you ask your question, please? Instead
okay,
of prefacing it with an insult?
No, it's not an insult.
Just ask the question.
What I want to talk about weakness is like you don't have a capacity of trying to work by your own because now you are running against me, but you took like about...
What is your question, sir?
So why did you take 4 people or 5 people just to run against me as a candidate? You're supposed to run...
Please, your question has been asked.
Yeah.
You can choose whether or not to answer that because of the way it was prefaced, but I would recommend you do.
I'm insulted, first of all, but I have spoken to the other candidates and we believe in the same things moving forward. I fully believe that I could run against you and that the student population would probably choose the better candidate. I won't say who. But I chose to run on a slate to show everybody that the people that I'm running with, we've already discussed this. We already know what our plans are for next year, and we are going to work as a cohesive team, which is one of the pillars of what I am running on.
So you can ask your question.
Sorry.
It's okay,
sorry.
you can have some time.
So we had our first joint summit with SMU, I believe it was our first. How would you improve relations with SMU going forward?
Previously, I was myself the president of this undergraduate student society, so I'm very good in that. So it's basically based on communication. If I'm in, the first things I'm going to do, I'm going to organize a meeting with the new interim SMU executive, so we can discuss and to see what are basically the needs and the concerns and try to have a cohesive picture or vision in terms of what we can do together.
You can ask your question. After this will be the final question.
My question. Really, my final question is more about you claim that you are going to work with the FUC, whatever, or the new student body in Quebec. What will be your main objective?
Working with the FUC?
Yeah, like the new one, when you went to Quebec City because you want to create a new association in Quebec. If it is created, what will be your main objective?
So not the FUC. If there's a new student federation, what your objectives be, and then working with it. And then your last question will be the final one.
Yeah, my objectives with the FUC or with the new organization would be to make sure that the needs of our students are represented by that body. So I would want to make sure that whatever our students say is the most important thing to them, I want to make sure that that is lobbied for at the appropriate level. So my final question to you is, can you name any of the candidates that are going to be next year's SMU executive?
And also, just before you answer that, I actually made a mistake. You have to ask the last question, but it's going to be your choice whether or not you want to go ahead. So you can go ahead and answer now.
My response is very simple. I don't know. I'm a postgraduate student, so just know more that I don't know because we are not on the same social structure. But if they are elected, definitely I'm going to meet them, those who are elected, and we are going to work together and design new strategic plans, how we can convince the administrators to have policies that are driven by students and that are very compatible with the needs and the concerns of both postgraduate students and undergraduate students.
Okay, you can ask your final question.
My final question is like, I like you so much, I found you.
Please ask your question.
Okay, my final question is that, what do you see the PGSS, where do you see the PGSS going in the near future in terms of policies?
Okay, you have 1 minute to answer these questions.
Beautiful. In terms of policies, I really want to look through all of our governing bodies, our governing documents as they are right now and see how we can fix the ones that we've got. It's a huge job and it will have to extend into the future, but I want to start that process rolling. Right now there's 7 governing documents, I believe, which is a lot, and it's difficult for anybody to go through those if you're not an executive. So I want to make sure that those are more easily understandable by the general student population. I also want to take my lead from the students. I want to see where they see PGSS going, what they think is most important for us to be supporting them in, and make sure that those things happen. I think that a lot of things need to be in supporting of our students. We are here as a student association to support our members, and I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. With that, I'll invite both Secretary Generals to return to their seats. And it's 9:16 right now. What we're going to do is invite the MSO candidates up to the lightning round. It will not take as long as the previous one. I'm going to try and keep that just for 8 rounds, just so you both know. As in like 4 question answer things each. And then we're going to go into closing statements and hopefully we can get everybody out of here by 9:45. That's my goal. So that being said, yes? Is there a question? Oh, there's a coin. Thank you. I was going to say, I asked for one.
We will flip a coin and see who flips a coin.
It was my left before, so my right now. Jenny, if you wouldn't mind calling it, go ahead. Devins, just go. It's on the camera this way.
It is heads.
All right, so Jenny, we'll go to go first. So you can just ask your question, and you don't have anything. You don't have to do anything else.
Okay. So Renita, from your platform last year, how is your expectations for this coming year different?
My platform for last year.
Yeah.
Can you just repeat the question?
Oh, sorry. From your platform last year, how is your expectations for this coming year any different?
Okay, thank you. The expectations for this year, I think I'm much more positive for the year that is coming because I have much more experience under my belt. So I think I'm gonna hit the ground running, and I really want the project that I started at the beginning to finish and take them above and beyond. Can you, Jenny Ann, give an example of an initiative that you started to improve student well-being at Wildlife?
Student well-being?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna actually give you guys the microphone because
yeah, if
we
you
do a
both
lot of
speak
things here.
louder, that'd be good.
If you guys could just hand it to each other, and I'll just like give you a couple extra seconds for that handoff process. Yeah, she will.
Okay, thank you.
So if you could repeat your question, and then I will give you the full minute.
So can you give an initiative? Can you give an example of an initiative that you started that will improve student well-being on campus?
You started? Is that the
Yes.
question? Yeah. Okay. So an initiative that you began to improve well-being on campus. If you give me the microphone, and go ahead.
So there hasn't been any particular student initiatives that I've started for McGill. If anything, it was for my undergraduate degree, where whenever we had sort of our meetings with our peer helping constituents and our volunteers, we would always have debriefing sessions to be able to alleviate any of the stressors that we were experiencing based on the students. And so we began, it wasn't an initiative I started, but it was a collective initiative by all the volunteers where we would meet and we would, it was like about a bi-weekly meeting, and we would essentially be able to, we would meet and debrief with each other. So that was
Can you ask your question?
Another question that I have is, do you intend to continue the mental health video project? And if so, how will you deliver it that would make sure it would impact the students who need it the most?
Brigida, I'm going to give you a hard warning at 30 seconds so we can like speed up the question thing.
Okay. So the video project is ongoing and it will be finished by the end of this term. How to deliver it? Well, I'm working with the offices on campus, and they're already aware and they're on board with having it promoted on various platforms online. Also, the screens on campus, it's built within the project that we want to make short, 30 seconds or less video to promote it through all the screens that we have on campus mounted in buildings. Question. What is your experience working on issues of sexual assault, and why do you feel you're qualified? To work, or do you feel you're qualified to work on this kind of issue?
Okay. So in my experience with, again, the peer helping network and volunteer during my undergrad, I was exposed to various scenarios where students of both genders identified with being sexually assaulted, whether it was at parties or within the dormitory setting, I was able to deal with them in a respectful and active manner, but be able to help them on their way to recovery.
25-second warning.
Another question that I have, would be, do you feel your position in council has been utilized well in supporting any of the motions?
My what?
Your position in council?
My position.
You're, as a council, as a technically executive officers and non-voting members, so it's like your time in council in supporting motions. Sorry.
You are.
In
Is
supporting.
that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
A particular motion?
General motions or initiatives during the term of council this year.
Right. We are gonna have the sexual assault policy up on council tomorrow actually. I've been working on that project all year, and it was not, sexual assault is not in the MSO portfolio. This is something that I brought in the portfolio this year, and I got very involved. So I have been to all their meetings, and luckily they're gonna go to Senate this month, and PGSS hopefully is gonna endorse it tomorrow.
Any question?
My question. So you have, as I know, you changed your mind to run for MSO in the last minute. Can you explain why you've been gathering signatures for financial position, then you changed your mind at the very last minute?
So as the president of my student association, I've been able to experience a range of different experiences based on all of the executives that I work with over the past couple of years. And I just thought, well, for finance, it would be something that I'm very strong with experiencing. And I was initially very interested in seeing all the finances and how it worked within PGSS. But when I found out that there was the opening, I read up more on the portfolio and decided that that actually best suited my experiences, and I felt as though it would have been, I guess, in PGSS's benefit to have all the experiences that I have to give.
15 seconds.
Why hasn't there been further actions on enhancing the other services?
Which other services?
Because you focused a lot on the
Sorry, can you say specifically which other services?
career planning.
Well, in fact, I did work with career planning this year, and we did have a pilot project, which is a networking and career trip to Ottawa as the government. That project was presented to all student organizations on campus. Nobody stepped forward, and I did. They needed the logistics, and I offered the PGSS support to make that trip happen, and it did happen. It was a success, and it's going to happen in the following years. My question for you.
This is the last question.
Okay. So can you name the student services offices on campus, please?
Student services?
Yes.
Various student service offices would be, for example, OSD. It would be anything regarding like the financial aid. Those is distributed with the Brown Building. For First Nations, we have the career planning, so we have CAPS. There's other various services regarding health and mental health, so encompassing not just our health and dental plans, but the mental health associated with it. So is
That's good. And yeah, you're done. So.
Oh.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you to both candidates. Great job. All right, we're almost done, everyone. I'm sorry, it's 9:34, so I think everyone has 2 minutes for their closing statement, so we can still possibly get out of here for 9:45. So before we went left to right, so I'm going to invite the candidates to speak right to left with their closing statements for 2 minutes exactly. So I'm just going to fix this. And so turn in if you would like to proceed whenever you're ready. And if you want, would you like the microphone?
No, it's okay, it's fine. So you can see basically what is my platform. I'm a very pragmatic person, and what I'm proposing is not wishy-washy, it's very pragmatic. I want the fees that you are paying to the PGSS to be reduced if I'm in. One of the ways I'm going to do that is basically by deleting or eradicating everything that I'm supposed to receive, like the 15,000 that the PGSS actually received. That's the first thing. Secondly, I'm standing for equity, like in terms of like fight against sexual harassment, promoting gender diversity on campus. On the third platform, I'm standing for communication between the PGSS and students, making curriculum to become much more clear, efficient, pragmatic, lucid, luculent, pellucid, and very, very result-based. On one side also, some of my candidates, or some of the candidates have decided like, to organize a platform, like about 5 of them or 6 of them against me. But if I'm in, I'm not taking it as a concern. I will be still willing, open to work with them. And I'm in the committee of the PGSS, but in the meantime also the ontology of my PhD is based on equity policies in elite universities. I'm doing like a comparative studies between McGill, between Canadian top university and Ivy League university in the US. So when it comes to the policies, like the administrative policies, or the human resource policies, or the employment policies, or the student policies at McGill, I'm very well known, well versed, because I'm working in that committee with the current diversity committee on campus, like based on what McGill wanted, because they want to recruit more minority professors on campus. So I'm working in that committee, designing new policies. So based on that, really, I'm very concisely rooted in the politics of McGill. So
Thank you very much. Thank you. Danielle? Would you like the microphone?
No, I'm okay, thank you. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because you guys all want to go home. I've had the experience working with the administration with McGill. The Secretary General position is one that's based around support and representation. So in order to support, you need to support the current executives in their portfolios. I have the working relationship with the executives here. JDN, I hope if you are elected that we can work together well. I have the personal relationships and the professional relationships with these people to be able to support them in their roles. And I am advocating for the student voice, so it's very important that I understand what the students want and that I advocate for that at the administrative and the provincial level when it comes to talking to other organizations. So that is really an important part of my platform. I've been around McGill, I know how this works, and I know it's realistic in a year-long term, and so hopefully I'll be able to get everything done. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Sahil?
So I'm going to take this time actually to not expand more on the platform, but also talk about our slate. So the reason why we're running the slate is that we have committed to work together, and I think it's really important that for those watching online is to read our platform. It's a real PGSS partnership.wordpress.com. All our platforms on there. Please ask us questions. We can campaign up until Wednesday night. So if you have questions, please do that I guess soon. You can email any of us. It's important that we come back with a background of experience. Coming to these positions that you're with student governments tend to be very fast-paced and very high tense situations that you need to know how to control in a well-mannered and well-tempered position without being super radical. You need to be able to represent students, and I think that's what our slate has as part of its pillars. We also have a working relationship that can be transferred into a proper representation of students, in my opinion. And I think that everyone should be well informed of their voting and also take the time to go and vote. The voting is online at obs.pgss.mcgill.ca. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sahil. Veron?
Because I don't need it.
Speak clearly for the camera. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, so I also want to just very briefly mention that I've shown that I will be involved in PGSS. I mean, it would be really improbable that I would not be elected, but even if I won't, I've already shown that I will be involved, like what I did last year. And I'm really devoted to working with a team with whoever gets elected. I really hope that we can commit to what we believe it's needed in PGSS, meaning to get the membership more involved in my portfolio, making everything accessible and easy to understand for those who are not even in the field of finances, and also partnering, a real partnership to actually serve the members in general. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Brad.
Thank you everyone for coming. So I'm running unopposed for External Affairs Officer, and I really think I'm a better option than no opinion. I have a strong background in law and politics, so the kind of big issues that are on the external plate are like something I get really intuitively, and also I understand how to work within those institutional structures. But most importantly, I think that it's important to have an open mind, and going into this potentially transformative stage with the Quebec Federation and everything, I think it's important. Like, I'm trying not to have too many preconceptions from what I've heard before, and that's why I think the most important thing is opening up dialogue with students. So I am really good at like bringing people to places and getting them to talk to me. So that's my focus, just to get a dialogue going at this moment when these big issues are on the table. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenny Ann.
Alright, so again, to reiterate, I'm Jenny Ann Pura, running for Member Services Officer. I believe that with all the experiences that I've acquired, I've worked with various different types of student advocacy groups from my undergrad as also from my graduate career. I did complete my master's here at McGill. I was one of the executives that started our experimental surgery graduate student society back in 2012, and so my exposure to PGSS isn't new, and I feel as though one concern that the slate had mentioned would be the continuity of the history, and although I do think that's great, I believe as though I could learn that. I'm very adaptable and flexible because I work with so many different types of people. The two core values that I believe in is strength and adaptability, and because this portfolio is so widespread, including all the experiences that I do have to offer, I believe in being able to see the opportunities and push for them, but also being able to reprioritize in the event that it needs to happen. And so just always keeping in mind the students' interest to push and tap into the services and to better enhance the current programs. So with the opportunity if elected, I would love to expand the current portfolio, but also tap into a whole new terrain. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Rita?
So I also finished my master's here, and I've been at McGill for 5 years. I think the portfolio is widespread, the MSO portfolio, and I think it needs to address only the student services. Right now it has a sustainability thrown under everything else in the MSO portfolio. That's something that I want to look at for next year and actually make a little bit more efforts in that sense. In PGSS, we haven't done a great job this year, I think, and that's partly my fault. I think advocating for students is actually the most important part in the portfolio, being at the meeting. So I created many good relationships on campus with the administrations. Many of the directors of the student services know me, and they're very glad to know that I'm running again. And if elected, I do have some focuses, and I think it's important to because I have the experience of the year. I know where the MSO needs to tap in and actually make a difference. So the family-oriented services here at PGSS definitely need to be improved and expanded if possible, if the budget allows. And also working with the seat office with the new family coordinator position, which will be implemented as of May. So the sexual assault issue on campus is very vibrant, and it's been so for many years. Now it's actually coming into petition with the Senate motion. So I want to work with the internal actually and try to push the administration to have an online orientation and bring everybody on the same page in terms of consent discourse. There are more stuff on my portfolio. Please go online and check our website. But if you have any questions, reach out to me on Facebook and I'll definitely answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Devin?
Sure, I'll keep this very short. Thank you once again for coming out. Thank you, Yanni, for being a cameraman. I can't tell you how important it is for me in this position to get the PGS members back and to really re-solidify us as a society that's together. I think that there's disconnect with our friends out in the MAC campus. My understanding is that typically it's in the bylaws that we're supposed to house council out at MAC campus once a term. To my knowledge, that's actually happening tomorrow. So that's exciting. So if you're out at the MAC campus, join. If you're not, hop on the bus and go out there. It's a great campus. I will not be there, unfortunately. I will be at the Athletic Review Committee, and I will be doing that all day. So I envy you. With regard to my platform, I want to reiterate the fact that I'm working towards a partnership. I'm working in partnership not just with PGSAs and PGS members, but also with the administrations. There are many different bodies and committees to work with. It requires a strong support from the Secretary General, but also with member services, the internal, the external, and the financial guy. And so I want to make sure that that's all together. I know that with the austerity members, there's a lot of concern. But how we address that concern needs to be done in a manner that is effective and actually promotes change. And so we need to do that, and we need to do that in an organized manner. I'm just really looking forward to the opportunity to be in this position and learning more about the McGill. My history has been that I've served 3 years in another institution in their undergraduate curriculum committee. I know academic policy. I served as on the assessment committee. I know how to evaluate different programs. In my previous year as Vice President for Education for EGSS, as the VP of Finance, that's it. So you guys can go home now.
Well, thank you all so much for coming out and staying with us. Thank you so much to Yoni for being our camera person. This video will ideally be up on YouTube very soon. I don't really know what the time turnaround is, but I will be watching it, reviewing it, and then there'll be a report that comes along with it as well. And if you have any questions in the meantime, until our CRO has returned, you can contact me at council.pgss@mail.mcgill.ca, and I'll do my best to try and answer your questions. I'd like to thank all the candidates for participating tonight, and I'd like to remind everybody that voting does begin in 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, and it goes on for what?
It goes until the 17th.
It goes until the 17th. So it begins Thursday, it goes until the 17th, which is 3 days after my birthday, so not that important. And again, if you have any other questions, you can let me know. Thank you so much for staying tonight, and have a good night.
Thank you.